In December 2016, a state board decided a man who had once kidnapped his wife and child was no longer dangerous.
Of course, because people change very quickly.
3 weeks later, a woman was taken from the road near her parents' home before sunrise. What followed unfolded across 2 states and ended with 2 people dead. This was not a crime that came out of nowhere. Anthony Wayne Montwheeler's life had violence baked into it before he was old enough to understand what violence meant.
Yikes.
Dun dun.
Yeah. That was a lot.
Good opener, huh?
Mm-hmm. Welcome back to the Lethal Library. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Dani.
And today we've got another true crime tale right out of Idaho for you. Dani, that escalated very quickly. What the fuck is going on here?
We're going to have a hot mess. And I believe there's going to be people to blame.
There usually is at least one.
This might be a whole board.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see your feelings at the end.
Are you telling me this is going to piss me off again? I don't know how much more pissy offy episodes I can do.
I actually, yes, I think there's going to be a few mic shakes.
Okay.
So
let me just stretch real quick. I don't want to pull a hammy or anything. Let me get a good.
Okay, it's out.
All right. I'm ready. I'm ready to roll.
All right. Sources. Look, this is across state lines.
Oh.
We're in Idaho and Oregon today, which it's Ontario, which is basically Idaho. Who are we kidding?
It's Idaho with weed.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. So,
am I wrong?
So yeah, I feel like Ontario is part of the Treasure Valley. I'm sorry. It's just
You're right there.
You're right there. And then there's nothing in Oregon after that.
Nothing for a long time.
Yeah. On a desert. So, and there's like Grand and Pendleton, but really?
Anyone heard of Madras?
Just saying. Yeah.
Smack dab in the middle of Oregon. No one's heard of it. That's where some of my family's from.
And it's high desert. There's no beaches.
Mm-hmm.
It's
no beaches. No.
It's lava rock and sagebrush.
There's a reservoir that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
That's what you get. That's what Madras is known for. Yeah. They have reservations out there.
Your mom worked out in Madras, right?
It was actually my dad and Rick's dad.
Yes. They were working on the dam.
Yeah.
To make
the dam.
The reservoir.
The dam.
The goddamn dam had to get dam built.
We'll work on the dam.
Shout out Madras. And no, it's not mattress like a bed. It's Madras.
Like you're mad in a dress.
Yeah.
Madras. So yeah, there's nothing out there. So, but this takes place right on the border. There's a lot of border towns here. So we have like Weiser and Payette and Fruitland right there. And then it's like you literally just cross the street and then you're in Oregon.
Boom.
Where you have to pay no sales tax. So.
Hell yeah, brother.
Those folks in Weiser and Fruitland over there, but we're going to the Walmart in the Ontario. Yeah. We're going to go and not pay sales tax.
Immediate 6% discount.
And we're going to buy some weed and then we're going to come home.
Yeah.
Because it's just across the street, literally.
So they're getting our tax money with the weed.
Yeah.
Again, Idaho, you're so fucking dumb. Love you, girl, but fuck. You go to any dispensary in Ontario, look at every plate. What are you going to see? Famous potatoes. Famous potatoes.
The Idaho.
Every single plate. Famous potatoes.
Yep.
But okay, we're too good. Can't be having the devil's lettuce, not in tater land.
No way.
Put a tater in your pipe and smoke it.
Maybe. All right. You ready to get into it?
Oh, I'm ready.
That's where I was at.
Oh, yes.
We're going across state lines. And of course, because we're in Oregon, the Oregonian had to get involved. So sources used in this episode are The Observer, Malheur Enterprise, Baker City Herald, Blue Mountain Eagle, The Idaho Statesman, KTVB, Rolling Stone.
Oh, wow.
And The Oregonian.
Many sources. Rolling Stone.
It was a pretty... And of course, guess when I ran into that? After my newspaper research.
You're like, oh,
this is a great article.
Ariana, what are you doing here?
Pretty much. I was like, the Rolling Stone picked up. So anyways, we got some good stuff. So
I'm stoked for the story.
I'm going to start back in November 1967. Lenny Laverne Hendricks was 21 years old when she gave birth to Anthony. His father, Wayne Wadsworth Montwheeler, was 59. What the? Yeah.
Rewind that.
You heard what I said.
What was her age?
21.
Oh. All right. Anyway, go on.
It's the reaction I had. I had to go do the math. I was like, wait, what? People who knew Wayne later described him as a Wisconsin-born brick mason who talked big and talked fast. A big, fancy talker, a con man type, and a man who could flip from charm to instability without warning. Family members said he could be physically abusive. He chopped up furniture with an axe and poured paint around the house when he got pissed off.
Very interesting emotional outlets.
By early 1974, the marriage was collapsing. I wouldn't do this.
What? They have to have a ton in common.
Huge. The divorce paperwork was moving through the courts. The decree to dissolve the marriage would come in Crook County Circuit Court. That's in Oregon. And the family would later be reduced to a line item in the public record. Petitioner Lenny Laverne Montwheeler. Respondent Wayne Wadsworth Montwheeler. Marriage dissolved. But the dissolution was not clean, and it did not end with the two adults separating and moving on.
Of course.
Early in the morning hours of March 9th, 1974, Crook County Sheriff's officers found Lenny Laverne Montwheeler shot to death inside a vehicle belonging to a man believed to be her estranged husband. She had a .22 caliber bullet wound in her chest. Authorities arrested Wayne and put him in jail. The early reporting said the shooting happened around 3 a.m. after an incident at a Bend nightclub.
Good old Bend.
Bend.
Bend's become very popular, hasn't it?
It's very hipster.
And basically property values are through the roof, just like they are here in the valley.
You know, I've been to Bend several times and I don't get it.
I get it for those in the area wanting some place to, because when I would go visit in Madras, you went to Bend for everything.
Yeah.
So I can see it becoming kind of like Oregon's square-ish. It's not Colorado square-ish, but it's fairly square. And it's like you need something. And I feel like that's become their...
I just don't think it's as pretty as everybody. Okay,
No,
that's where I'm
the
getting.
prettiness. I mean, especially when you look at like Boise and McCall and like...
Because there is...
it's like Mountain Home-ish. Almost.
It is. It really is. But
Yeah.
with some extra pine trees.
Mountain home with trees, pine trees. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's still very...
Yeah.
Okay. Mid.
So, love you, Bend. No shade.
No.
Listen, we've got a lot of little ugly spots here, armpits.
Yeah. And we're not even... It's not even close to an armpit. It's just... It's built up.
Especially with the costs, is what we're saying.
It's been built up to something that I don't think it quite should.
Yeah. What's going on there?
Yeah. When Wayne was arraigned on March 11th in Deschutes County District Court, the judge did not set bail on the murder charge. During a preliminary hearing, Deputy District Attorney Warren West called Crook County Sheriff Don Hanna, who testified that Wayne was an acquaintance and had called him around 4:20 a.m. and blurted out that he had shot Lenny.
Oh.
I love that name for a girl, too, by the way, Lenny. I think it's cute.
That is very cute.
Hannah said he went to Jay's Fine Foods, an all-night cafe in Prineville. Look at us traveling.
Good old Prineville.
And found Lenny's body in Wayne's car outside while Wayne sat inside the cafe.
Oh, weird.
It's like, yo, dude, I just shot my estranged wife.
And then
I'm inside.
I needed some waffles.
Yeah. Hannah testified that Wayne claimed he and Lenny had gone from Prineville to Bend the evening of March 8th for dinner and drinks, as one does, then drove to a restaurant north of Bend. Wayne claimed Lenny disappeared and that he found her in a car in the parking lot having sex with an unidentified man.
Really?
Wayne said he went to his own car, retrieved a .22 Derringer, returned and shot Lenny as she lay on the seat while the man fled.
And you were just cool with the man fleeing? You had no desire to shoot the man?
Don't know. On December 19th, 1974, Wayne pled guilty to manslaughter and being a felon in possession of a firearm. I'm not sure what his previous... Who knows what he did? But he killed his ex-wife. Manslaughter, I don't know how he got that.
Yeah.
I guess maybe passion, murder, whatever.
Yeah, where's the dude? No, is anyone even able to corroborate this? This is weird.
Judge Jarrett Campbell sentenced him to 10 years on manslaughter, added a 5-year enhancement for being armed with a concealable weapon, and imposed a 5-year sentence on the firearm charge to be served concurrently. Prosecutor Warren West said the murder charge was withdrawn because he believed Wayne was under extreme emotional disturbance and that manslaughter better fit the statutes. Statutes. Does it? It sounded like statues. Statues.
I think we understood.
Okay. Wayne himself put his motive into a cold, blunt sentence saying, quote, "I shot my wife when she told me she wanted to go home with another man." Sir, you were divorced.
Was it?
Yeah.
None of this adds up.
So we got 10 years for manslaughter. But now you can get more mad here. A year later, Wayne wrote to a newspaper from the Oregon State Penitentiary, calling himself a 67-year-old prisoner, asking for help arranging visits with his 2 young sons. He claimed relatives had told the children he was dead. He wrote that he supported them through a veteran's pension and Social Security and had only received 1 letter and 2 pictures in more than a year. And it was a pretty pathetic letter, let me just tell you. It was like, looking for someone to help bring my kids to see me.
Is it classified? What is this?
Yeah. No, he wrote it to the newspaper. Don't think he got a response. It was just a really weird letter to write to the paper. But the reality was that Wayne served only a few years for killing Lenny.
And we don't even know if the whole, affair thing is true. Most people aren't going to go and fuck someone in their car when they drove there in the same car with their spouse.
Yeah.
How do you make that work? Man or woman?
He might have been advancing on her. And she's like, no, I'm not ready yet. We're still divorced, fucker.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't think someone would just be bringing some strange man into the car when they're going... None of it makes sense. Sure, you went for the easy manslaughter or whatever, but... Lame.
Wayne died of a heart attack in 1983. So, he did get out of jail. He only served a couple of years. But let's talk about Anthony, right? It's a rough way to start. Anthony was only 6 when his mother died. After the shooting, he and his younger brother, Monty, went to live with Lenny's older sister, Teresa, and Teresa's husband, Jimmy Ray Hildebrand. They already had 3 children and lived on a dairy farm in Halfway, Oregon, a town of about 300 people tucked into the Hells Canyon area. In high school, Anthony went by Tony. He was a 3-sport athlete. He loved to hunt and fish. All the guys up there do. People around him talked about his hands, how he could build or weld anything. His cousin Jim Hildebrand said Tony once made an ice sculpture of Bart Simpson that won at the Halfway Snow Festival.
Let's go.
But the same cousin said Tony always seemed like he had a screw loose.
Okay.
Family members told a story about a younger Tony. The neighbor's dog would bark whenever someone walked from the house to the barn. One night, Tony said they wouldn't have to worry about that dog anymore. He drove over it with his pickup. Oh. When Jimmy Ray told him to bury it, Tony grabbed a post hole digger and shoved the dog into a hole. His cousin remembered it as careless and cold. Not a kid making a mistake, but a kid showing what kind of respect he had for life. Yeah. I feel like that wasn't a, oops, I hit the dog. He was
he's like, don't worry, I actually hit the dog with this fucking truck.
I killed the dog, so we're good. After high school, Tony joined the Marines. For 3 years, he was stationed in Guam, serving in a military police unit responsible for defending a stockpile of nuclear weapons.
Bet that was wonderful for everyone around.
He earned 2 ribbons for good conduct and briefly married a young woman from Guam. He later claimed he carried a haunting memory from the Marines, telling people a close friend named Michael stepped on a landmine during a patrol and was killed. Whether that story was true or not would later matter, because Tony would eventually use the idea of dead voices and dead friends to shape how doctors and the courts saw him.
Oh, wonderful.
He left the service in 1989 and moved to Oceanside, California, and that's where he met 23-year-old Rosa Carrasco. There was a family connection through her stepfather in San Diego, who was a brother of Tony's Aunt Teresa.
Okay.
So I think that's how he ended up down there. Knew some people, go down there. Carrasco later said, Tony seemed handsome and charming, an outdoorsy type, and a tireless worker. She said he didn't drink or use drugs, and he would rarely talk about his mother's murder. Quote, maybe her birthday would come around or Christmas, and he would say, I wish my mom was here. And that would be it, she said. After they married, the couple briefly moved to Oregon, and Tony worked as a corrections officer.
Mm-hmm.
Then came an accusation that followed him into the public record. In September 1991, a corrections officer at Powder River Correctional Facility was arrested on a charge of taking photographs from inmates' mail. Tony Montwheeler was 23 and was cited and released on a charge of second-degree official misconduct. That doesn't even sound like a real...
It doesn't.
Prison Superintendent Dan Johnson said searching inmate mail for contraband was standard practice and that photographs were allowed with restrictions. He declined to comment on the nature of the photos. Montwheeler remained employed while the case moved forward. In August of 1992, the official misconduct charge was dismissed in Baker City Justice Court for lack of proof. His attorney said multiple people had access to the inmate mail, and there was no proof that Tony actually took anything. So after all that, with the accusations at the prison, and by the way, he worked at the prison that his dad was in jail at.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So after all that, Tony and Rosa returned to California. He joined a street sweeping business owned by Rosa's father, and they had a son. After his birth, Rosa said Tony changed. He became withdrawn. He disappeared for hours at night and missed shifts at work. And remember, he's supposed to be a really, workaholic, good worker.
Yeah. What's happening here?
She remembered how he never slept much. Quote, he wasn't much of a sleeper, she said. For a while, I thought maybe he's on something because he's just always up. But he was never the type to do drugs. Eventually, Tony moved back to Oregon to work as a truck driver, leaving Rosa behind with the baby. In March of 1996, the couple arranged to meet in a parking lot in Oceanside to talk about divorce because he'd done left her.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Rosa told her family, if she doesn't come back in a couple hours, something was really wrong. And this is the days before the cell phonies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 96, it'd be pushing it. But yeah. So she's like, I'm going to go meet my estranged husband. If I don't come back in a couple hours, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Hello, family? Hello?
Family.
Yeah. Don't let her go by herself. Yeah. Okay. When Rosa got into Tony's Dodge pickup with their son, who was 3, Tony pulled onto the freeway and he said, "Change of plans." And he told her he thought they needed some time together. He drove 15 hours to Baker City in Northeast Oregon, where his brother Monty lived. I don't know if she was willing. I don't know how that
It doesn't
went.
sound like it, but if someone's got your kid in the back, like to try to get away, what are you going to do? Grab the car seat and roll out of the car?
But she also stayed there for 2 months. So maybe she thought they could reconcile. Because over the next 2 months, Rosa said Tony appeared to descend into madness. She found newspaper clippings about men who got away with killing their wives. Red flag much?
Yeah, that's like, hey, that's like a search history when search histories didn't exist. Like, you could just read a newspaper and throw it away, but you're keeping it.
Cutting out clippings.
That's strange. That's weird.
He took her and their son on pre-dawn trips to a payphone, and at least once he seemed to believe he was speaking to his old Marine buddy Michael, who had been dead for years. Rosa said this is when Tony became abusive. During one argument, he threatened her with a .22 caliber rifle he kept in the back seat. Another time, she said, he held me down and he started choking me. There's something going on here.
Not good.
So Rosa planned an escape with her brother, Javier. The plan was for Javier to drive from San Diego to Monty's house to retrieve Rosa and her son. The hope was that Monty, not included in the plan, could keep Tony calm. So they're going to go up there and they're like, well, we know that Monty is not going to let Tony get cray-cray. Like, he's going to try to keep him in check, and then that'll be our chance to get away. If that's scary, if you have to arrange something like that in secret.
Yeah, not good.
The plan detonated instead. Rosa said that after Javier called to confirm they were in place, Tony grew suspicious. He sped off with Rosa and their son in the front seat. On the highway, he abruptly pulled over as if to collect his thoughts. Rosa remembered him talking to himself, saying strange things, and she saw an opening. She jumped out of the truck and screamed for help on the shoulder of the highway. Tony responded by pointing the .22 caliber rifle at their son's head. He ordered Rosa back into the truck. He tied both of their wrists to the seatbelt. Rosa remembered him saying, quote, "If you're going to leave me, I'm going out in a blaze of glory."
Oh my God.
Tony drove back to Monty's house. Javier was outside when they arrived. A confrontation unfolded on the lawn, with Monty trying to calm his brother. This is how the plan was supposed to be. Inside the truck, Rosa worked her wrists free. She turned to her son, but he would not move. He was afraid of what his father might do. At 3, Rosa said she panicked and had to make a decision. She ran, leaving her child in the car because she believed she could not save them both in that second. What a hard decision.
Oh, impossible. Absolutely impossible.
The situation escalated into a chaotic standoff. Here we go. At one point, Anthony deliberately rammed his pickup into Javier's car as Javier tried to escape with Rosa, forcing him to crash through a neighbor's fence. Montwheeler then grabbed his rifle, seized the kid, and ran inside the house, turning the scene into an armed hostage situation.
Not good for anyone.
As police arrived and took up positions across the lawn, Montwheeler fired a series of warning shots, and then he set his pickup on fire.
As one does.
Yeah.
Cops are here. Hey, let me light your way for you.
His cousin, Jim Hildebrand, who was a sheriff's deputy, arrived to help talk him down. Rosa later remembered the standoff stretching on and on. It lasted roughly 10 fucking hours.
Unbelievable.
When Tony surrendered, Hildebrand remembered the kid had wet himself. Poor baby was so scared. He said Tony was totally out of it, staring into space and repeating, quote, "They can't take my boy. They can't take my boy." Later reporting laid out the official version of what happened. In April of 1996, what began as a child custody dispute escalated into a hostage situation involving gunfire and a torched vehicle in South Baker City. Baker City police got involved around 5:30 p.m. The incident ended at 1:17 a.m. when Tony Montwheeler surrendered and released his 3-year-old son. Chief Doug Humphreys credited, quote, skills and exercising patience and reserve, and said they had averted tragedy. I believe they did.
Mm-hmm.
Assisting agencies included Oregon State Police, the Baker County Sheriff's Department, and the District Attorney's Office. Because it's a small town. Baker's a small town. They had to call in for backup, call in the cavalry.
Everyone.
Humphreys said Tony was arrested on 18 charges. Those included kidnapping his wife Rosa, unlawful use of a weapon, pointing a firearm at another, menacing, failure to perform the duties of a driver involved in an accident, reckless burning, reckless endangering his son, coercion, and criminal mischief.
Throw the fucking book at him, I
They
guess.
did, yeah. Police said Tony repeatedly attempted to hang himself after being booked in jail and was transported to St. Elizabeth Health Services for evaluation. You know, these guys that do this when they're just raging, it's a very common thing. We've even had stories on, you know, where...
Mm-hmm.
Police said the incident began when Tony learned his wife was planning to take the baby and leave for Texas with her brother, and that she was pursuing assault charges related to a domestic violence incident weeks earlier. Get him, girl.
She's like, absolutely not.
Rosa told police Tony loaded her and the child into the pickup and then tied them to the seatbelt. She said Tony planned to find her brother and kill him. Police Chief Humphreys said Rosa was released from the truck around 6:45 p.m., but Tony kept the child and returned to the Virginia Street home in Baker City, where he threatened to kill himself and the child. Humphreys said he negotiated by phone, and Tony demanded Rosa be brought to the scene. This is never a good idea. David Blakely of Mountain Valley Mental Health and Tony's attorney, Lies, look at that name, Yervasi?
Where?
Right here, this Y. Lies Yervasi?
Vest, yeah.
Oh, that's a name. Worked with police to calm Tony and persuade him to surrender. At one point, Humphreys said Tony left the house and threw something believed to have been the boy into the back of the pickup. And then the truck flared into flames. So this was the big thing. They thought, you know, he went out and he started that truck on fire. But they were worried that kid, he threw the kid and then started it on fire. Officer Kirk McCormick placed himself in jeopardy, checking to make sure the child was not in the burning pickup. As McCormick was checking, Tony allegedly fired 2 shots at him. Damn straight he did. Allegedly, my ass. Humphreys said the fire department was dispatched, but he turned the truck back because the situation was uncertain. We don't need no water. Let the motherfucker burn. Tony surrendered to Officer Kent Drays, a man he grew up with in the halfway area, which I think helps.
Mm-hmm.
Residents were told to remain inside their homes during the standoff. Humphreys noted that the weapon was a .22 caliber rifle, which he said minimized the threat to others. Really? Because that's how his dad killed his mom.
Yeah. They'll kill you.
In September 1997, Baker County Circuit Judge Milo Pope, that's an unfortunate name, ruled that Tony Montwheeler was guilty except for insanity for the 1996 kidnapping and armed standoff involving his wife and young son.
Uppy.
Instead of sending him to prison, Pope committed the 29-year-old to the Oregon State Hospital in Salem, where he would fall under the authority of the Psychiatric Security Review Board for a period that could last as long as 70 years. And I would just like to...
I'm confused because he said he was guilty except for insanity, but then he went
That's an insanity plea. That's the technical term for pleading insanity.
Oh, okay.
Guilty except for insanity. So he's guilty.
Okay,
except for he's insane.
I I thought it meant you're guilty and insanity is not.
I know it's a weird,
Weird wording, legal speak. Okay.
yeah, it's legal speak.
So it is insanity,
Yeah.
guilty. Okay. Makes sense.
So he's
Thank you.
guilty except for insanity. So he's guilty except
You were a little cuckoo.
yeah. But I want to talk about the 70 years that the Psychiatric Security Review Board gave him. That was very rare. They don't normally give somebody 70 years. I mean, he's 29. Yeah, 70 years was a long time. I mean, he's 29. So that's still, he's 100.
Yeah, you're dead.
That the psychiatric board is over them. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this board. A Psychiatric Security Review Board, known as the PSRB, I'm probably going to fuck that up when I say it again, is a 5-member board appointed by the governor. It exists solely to supervise people who have been found guilty of crimes but legally insane at the time they committed them. The board decides whether those individuals remain confined in a state hospital, are released under strict conditions, or are returned to custody if they violate the terms of release.
Okay.
Once Montwheeler was found guilty, except for insanity, the PSRB, not the court, controlled every decision about his future. So, I don't know. That gets a little wonky for me because this is why I don't like the insanity plea. And you're not going to like it either.
Okay.
District Attorney Judge Baxter told the court that the board technically had the authority to release Montwheeler in as little as 3 weeks if it determined he was no longer a danger. Baxter said that reality concerned him deeply. Montwheeler's attorney, Kathleen Berglund, attempted to reassure the court, telling Judge Pope that such a rapid release was highly unlikely and she did not expect him to be freed for at least 2 years. 2 years? She's like, guys, it's at least 2 years. Like,
And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's also bad.
Baxter described the case as unusual because the insanity finding did not come from a defense-hired expert. Instead, the diagnosis that sent Montwheeler to the state hospital came from the state's own forensic psychologist,
Oh, so you're fucked.
Dr. John Cochran. Yeah. The prosecution's like, yeah, he's insane. Cochran diagnosed Montwheeler with depression and schizophrenia and concluded that he was suffering from mental illness at the time of the kidnapping and standoff. Baxter explained that in most cases, prosecutors and defense attorneys wage what he called a war of psychiatrists, which each side presenting dueling experts who disagree over whether a defendant was mentally ill. In Montwheeler's case, Cochran's diagnosis eliminated that battle. He's like, yeah, bro, we don't even have to hire anybody because the prosecution said you're good.
Yeah. That's wild.
No,
I don't know if I've ever heard of that.
It's just really
The prosecution's psychiatrist is like, yeah, this dude's crazy.
And that's not typically what happens. You get somebody
No.
that's like, no, he's fine. And then the defense brings in somebody who says, no, he's not okay. So Baxter told the court that without the guilty except for insanity finding, Montwheeler could have been sentenced to as much as 40 years in prison for those crimes. Instead, the insanity ruling diverted him out of the criminal justice system and into Oregon's mental health system, placing him under the PSRB's control rather than the Department of Corrections.
All right.
Judge Pope ordered that Montwheeler's ex-wife, Rosa, be notified if he was ever released, if he escaped custody, or if any hearing was scheduled that could result in his release back into the community.
Okay.
Montwheeler didn't address the court and made no statement following the ruling because he's winning.
Yeah.
Montwheeler went to the Oregon State Hospital, a facility with a reputation and a history. The place had been used as a filming location for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh.
Fun fact. By the time Tony was there, it was described as infested with mold and rats and packed with neglected storage, including shelves lined with thousands of unclaimed cremains. It was over 5,000 cremains.
Why?
People just, they didn't come get their dead mother.
There's not like an official storage facility for that? You think they have to have very strict like temperature and whatever guidelines.
No.
Yikes.
Medical records said Tony experienced auditory hallucinations and paranoia early in hospitalization, but he eventually settled into the rhythm of institutional life in a way that made staff wary. He loan sharked. He sold porn to other patients, pornographic CDs to other patients.
How? He's a CD burner? A DVD burner? What's happening? How did he get that?
A psychologist noted that staff struggled to keep up with his latest attempts at engaging in commerce and getting away with it.
Commerce? In the mental?
Yeah. He's a hustler.
He's like, we're making Wall Street in the insane asylum.
It's like, how can I make some money in here?
Stocks and bonds. You can get them here, baby.
2 years into his stay, he incited a riot on his word. And I don't know more details about that, but I think he was a menace to these guys.
They seem exhausted already.
Like, why are you selling?
You keep doing commerce.
Quit selling.
Tony, we told you, stop doing. Is it Tony?
Yeah.
Tony, no more commerce. He's like, that's who I am.
Everybody needs to masturbate. I'm just providing.
When there's a demand, someone has to supply.
He's your guy.
Commerce. This is wild.
No, and he did a bunch of other shit like this too. Like, he would like sell candy for like 5 times as much as it was worth. Like, just all kinds.
That happens in prison too.
It's the same diff. That's what he was doing. He's
hustling. I'm sure they get more access to stuff not being in an actual jail. So
in October of 2002, after more than 5 years, the PSRB granted Tony conditional release.
Pause. Wait, how much time had he spent here?
5 years.
So PSRB, 5 years.
Yeah, good job. He went into an adult foster care home in Ontario.
What the fuck is that?
Let's just put him... Yeah, okay. The woman running it, Mary Lee Burgess, later said he was very likable, but he had a way of working people and doing crooked things.
No, not him.
During conditional release, Tony was tied to multiple property fires.
And a pyro.
One involved an apartment that led to a $24,000 insurance payout. Another involved a friend's camper, and that resulted in a reckless burning booking. Not arson.
Like, this is not burning something in a barrel. That's probably someone's home.
Yeah, and I believe that this friend's camper that was burnt, it could have been the apartment, but I think it was the friend's camper. She said that Tony had told her to lie and say she had more stuff than she had.
So then she to help you with an insurance payout, Mama.
And so she ended up getting nothing because they found out she was lying. So that's why I think it was the camper. I can't remember. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
she's like, I did have the necklace from Titanic in there. I know.
The heart of the ocean was in the drawer underneath my microwave, bro.
It was. And I know I should have kept it in my safety deposit box, but I wanted to wear it for my gala.
I like to put it on at night while I have a cup of coffee or a coffee.
Paint me like one of your French girls. What the fuck's happening here? He's like, tell them that you had.
Yeah. And so that's why
Mona Lisa.
Because the apartment fire led to $24,000 insurance payout.
Which doesn't seem like a lot because, I mean, when I'm thinking of how much damage a fire could do.
Well, it's just their stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay.
And then it's actual cash value. Do you want me to go down this road? You don't.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
So the PSRB could revoke conditional release at any time and send someone back to the hospital.
Okay, Perserb.
Tony was revoked in 2003 after buying a truck at auction and never paying, and it was later impounded with stolen plates. Fucking menace. He was back on conditional release within a month.
You've rehabilitated. 30 days. Rehabilitated.
Guided in part by recommendations from his caseworker, Alice Mills, who worked at Lifeways.
Alice?
Alice was on it. who worked at Lifeways, a nonprofit contracted to provide mental health services in Malheur County.
What kind of services are you providing, Alice?
Not good if he thinks
She's like, commerce is good. Everyone knows that. This is America. Free market. You're being an American, Tony.
Mills wrote that a month back at the hospital, quote, should be a wake-up call for Tony.
Oh, I'm sure after being a kingpin in there for 2 years immediately and a menace, I'm sure that really woke him up. He's like, oh gosh, this is terrible. No, he felt like, back in my old stomping grounds, I know how to run shit around this bitch.
Hey, could you buy me some porn CDs and a CD burner? Thank you.
Who wants a Tootsie Roll for $17? Anyone? I'm the only one with Tootsie Rolls on the block, so.
Bueller.
Yeah, that 30 days, I'm sure he was scared straight.
She said that this would a wake-up call for Tony to monitor his behavior because loss of freedom and respect was a big price to pay. A month? 4 weeks?
It sounds like he got a lot of respect in there. They're probably like, Tony!
Yeah.
Going porn and candy?
Yeah.
I love porn and candy, bro.
He's probably like, fuck yeah, like walking in, like he had a walk-in song.
He's like,
Guess
no,
who's
all
back?
my friends. He's pointing.
Back again. Got you, bro.
Hey, Joe. I'll get you some of those Jolly Ranchers you like. How's that?
You still owe me $15, fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alice also described him as bright and capable, a good problem solver, savvy in communication, hardworking and goal-oriented. All I'm hearing is a mobster, like, right?
Alice? Sweetie, are you okay?
Yeah, I feel like manipulated much. Thank you.
Were you going through something of this time? What's really...
Did he tell you you were cute? And yeah.
Like, oh my God, thank you.
So just 4 days for 4 weeks for Tony.
And
It's a good lesson.
And you guys, he did learn his lesson, and that's the end of our episode. So thank you for listening. He's reformed. Dani, what a great success story we've had.
But
Oh, wait. That wasn't how it went.
Tony kept committing crimes anyway.
What?
In 2005, he served 90 days in jail for stealing about $3,000 worth of scrap metal from a sawmill. Alice confronted him. Tony told her he could avoid issues by being like peers who do, quote, anything but take pills, sleep, and watch TV. That's what he thought of his bros. He's like, yeah.
Okay.
It was a revealing sentence because it framed the system discipline like a performance, which it was.
Wait, what? You're telling me this guy's faking?
Also in 2005, Tony met Katie Gill in a welding class at Treasure Valley Community College.
Good old CVCC.
They would marry and have 2 children.
Yikes.
But their domestic life wasn't stable. That's weird. Gill lived with her parents while Tony stayed in subsidized housing for the mentally ill adults in Ontario. At some point, they didn't last long. They ended up getting divorced.
No.
I don't know if that's in here somewhere, but they did. So we're into 2009. After more than a decade under PSRB jurisdiction, Tony asked for a full discharge.
Oh, because obviously.
Alice wrote she was fine with it and told the board that Tony had a mental illness with well-managed symptoms. But if he got into trouble in the future, it would more likely be due to an antisocial criminal trait rather than mental illness.
What does that even mean?
Yeah. The PSRB denied his request. Within a year, Tony and Gill divorced. There we go. I knew it wasn't, yeah. And then Tony was engaged again. He'd be having those bitches.
True con man.
Oh, fuck yeah. He is. Right. When he met his new fiancée, Anita Harmon, in the checkout line at Walmart, where she worked as a cashier.
What a meet cute.
Tony, she told her family, was the man of her dreams.
Ugh.
Tony and Anita got into the scrap metal business together
Oh, yikes.
because, he liked to steal that scrappy scrap.
He's out here taking catalytic converters and copper out of AC units and
Much bigger scale. In September of 2012, a Grant County jury convicted Tony Montwheeler and Anita Montwheeler, also known as Anita Harmon, of first-degree aggravated theft in dealings with an elderly couple, Robert and Violet Heipel. I hope I said that right.
not Robert and Violet.
I love Violet as a name, by the way.
Ew.
Like retro, like old. I guess that'd
Very-
be vintage. We're talking vintage names,
We're
Violet.
talking vintage classic. Yeah.
They lived east of John Day, Oregon.
Good old John Day.
Desert. Prosecutor Ryan Jocelyn said the couple ran a business that collected metal through verbal agreements, hauled it off, sold it, and then paid customers less than promised. The indictment said they stole metal and or money valued at more than $10,000. Investigators said they hauled roughly 250 tons of metals from the Heibel property. So what happens, just if people don't know, on these old farms, they end up collecting a bunch of old farm equipment. They just
Sure.
have, and it's like a cleanup, but it's worth money. The agreement was supposed to pay $100 per ton of ferrous material and split proceeds 50-50 for non-ferrous items like copper and brass. So more expensive metals, not just your... The state said the Montwheelers received about $50,000 for the metals. So we're not talking chump change here when they're out collecting this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of money. So they received $50,000 for the metals, but only paid Heipels $12,500, shortening the Heppels by over $13,000.
Wow.
And this is the big thing. The victims' ages mattered. The Heipels were in their 90s. You can't be scamming the elderly. You can't be fucking with the elderly. They got to be protected. Authorities said the law provided stiffer penalties when the victim was older than 65.
Mm-hmm.
Tony was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Anita was sentenced to 16 months.
Isn't this funny that he was sentenced to 2 years in prison for ripping off an older couple, and his dad basically got 2 years in prison for murdering his mom?
Mm-hmm.
What? Pardon the fuck?
Officials also urged other potential victims to come forward, saying there could be more, and there probably was.
Oh. If he's had this many ladies, imagine how many like little small dealings that he was able to rip
I
off.
imagine the Heipels kids were like, what the fuck happened? What happened? And then they got involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But their convictions were later dismissed in October of 2016 on appeal, but only after Tony fulfilled his sentence. So Tony did do his time. My understanding is that Anita never did time. She was fully on appeal, but
I'm sure he thrived on his 2 years.
I don't know, he's probably in there hustling.
Big man on the block.
By late 2016, the state's attention shifted back to the thing that has shaped Tony's adult life since Baker City, whether he was truly mentally ill, because now he's getting out, like, is he getting out, right? So whether he was truly mentally ill or whether he had used the insanity system as a shield.
Never.
In Tony's case, doctors had been treating him for years, and yet questions about malingering had bubbled up in records long before the 2016 discharge hearing. Malingering.
Thank you. I was just going to be like, because I think some of us have heard that term.
It's when you fake it. That's just the simple, you can malinger a headache for work. How about that? You're faking. You're faking. You're faking. You're a big fat mouth.
Big old fat mouse out here.
That's malingering in fancy terms. So, yeah. I can't ever...
You're mimicking the symptoms of something real.
Yeah. Oh, boss, got a headache. Might be able to make it in today. Migraine. He took it to a whole nother fucking level.
Oh, yeah.
In 1997, a state psychiatrist, Dr. Charles Folk, wrote that there was a reasonable medical probability Tony simulated symptoms to avoid prison and that there was no symptoms of mental illness, making treatment difficult to define.
Because he's like, I'm looking for symptoms. I'm trying to diagnose and treat. And where are the symptoms?
Years later, a psychiatrist wrote Tony's unusual course did not rule out malingering. Still, the system kept rolling. Diagnosis carried forward from provider to provider, and the narrative repeated. And Tony learned how to perform it.
Because you're just, and listen, I feel like, and this isn't always men, this is just toxic people in general. Like, if you ask a toxic person who has some of these narcissistic traits to go to therapy, they just learn how to manipulate better. Within the they're like, oh, this is the rule book? Oh, I love a rule book. Now, if I just say it this way, then now you're not accommodating my needs. Or, people start to learn therapy speak and things like that and use it against you. It sounds a lot like that.
In December 2016, the PSRB convened to consider releasing Tony from the Oregon State Hospital.
Because he's a stand-up guy.
Board chair Kate Lieber and board members listened to testimony. Tony described his own deception. He later told the board he had chosen the insanity route after the Baker City kidnapping case because prison was dangerous for him as an ex-corrections officer. He testified in words that landed like a confession and a boast. And all I got to do is make myself sound like I'm crazy. And that's the route I took.
I can't believe after all this time, and it's worked for you.
Fucking 20 years.
If it's worked for you for 20 years,
I'm going to tell you.
no one could prove it, really. I mean, even the psychiatrists are like, I'm trying to find symptoms, but I can't. But I mean, he's displaying activities, like.
So this is the thing. He was getting out of jail on that conviction, even though it was dismissed later. But at that point, they can make him go stay back in the hospital. They can make him.
So he's like, yeah, it was a fake though. I'm not
because he wants
crazy.
He liked living in the independent,
the
adult
foster home.
Yeah, he liked that because he could come and go and as he pleased.
Fake it to be a normal person and go out and do shenanigans.
Yeah, he had a whole fucking business and a wife, and still was living
like a part-time wife. She lives with her parents. I live in my foster home for adults.
So after 20 years, he's like, I've had enough of this.
He's like, yeah, guys,
I'm faking it. He said he put on an act for his first doctor, reporting he was hearing his murdered mother and people who died in the Marines. He later claimed none of that was true. He told the board he didn't want to do 7 years in prison because he didn't want to get shanked. Nobody wants to get shanked, motherfucker. Lieber told him she was aghast at what she heard. I love that word. Aghast. But that he was getting a second chance. Tony apologized and the board just charged him. How is that not a crime?
They said, wow, I'm aghast. That's the most terrible thing I've ever heard.
You're free to go.
Go ahead and go. You know what? We don't even need to watch you anymore. That was awful and diabolical. Go ahead and do whatever the fuck you want for the rest of your life.
Yeah. A psychologist, Brian Hartman, warned the board what might happen.
Oh, no, really? A warning.
Hartman
I'm sure they're going to heed it. We're like, oh, a professional's here? Thank God. Because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Thank God someone can tell us what the possible consequences of this would be. My ears are open, Brian. That's what they said.
Yeah. And Hartman testified that if Tony returned to the community without supervision, his risk of violence would be high and most likely directed at an intimate partner or family member.
I mean, but what does he know? People go to school for stuff, whatever. Like, the vibes are good. The whole board thinks the vibes are good.
And you know who loves him to death? Alice.
Alice rides for him. Fucking Alice. Alice,
Not, are you ready for the mic shake?
Yep. Yep.
It was fun. 20 years. You know what that fucker did? He lived in free housing. He got all
State paid.
everything. Medical, everything. Around 4 a.m. on January 9th, 2017, Montwheeler told his girlfriend he was leaving to go to the gym. Instead, Anthony drove into a rural area outside of Weiser, Idaho, and parked his pickup a short distance from the Harmon family home. He did not pull into the driveway or park in front of the house. Instead, he positioned himself down the road on a side street, close enough to watch, but far enough away to avoid being noticed. So, I'd just like to remind you, he was released in December of 2016, and we are on January 9th, 2017. By about 5:30 a.m., a neighbor noticed his pickup sitting on the side street near the Harmon home, stationary, and really out of place at that hour.
Strange vehicle.
And
They
neighbors
know.
be watching neighbors out there.
Yeah.
Sometime after that, Anita Harmon left for work. Her Toyota 4Runner was later found abandoned a short distance away, sitting in the middle of the road with the headlights still on and the keys left in the ignition.
Suspicious. Not good.
How Tony got Anita out of her vehicle and into his truck was not fully laid out publicly in every report, but investigators believed he kidnapped her near her home. Her father, Bud, later described the tear as unbearable, saying, quote, "He got her right up the road here. The tear she must have gone through. I can't hardly handle that."
Yeah. And you wonder, was it like got her out to help? She thought she was. There's a number of different things that could have happened, and none of them are good.
None of them are good.
No.
Tony then drove Anita across the border into good old Oregon. Look, Weiser's right on the border.
It's right there.
And I'm going to tell you, he liked the Oregon rules. I believe that's why he... Yeah, you believe that's why he drove? I believe that's why he drove over the border.
No, and listen, Idaho has had many consequences for not following rules and being too much on the we're going to do what we want. But it's much stricter here. And in general, even putting aside the Idaho passing out the death penalty for every person that came across their thing, Idaho is much more strict on things. Any type of conviction, whether it's drug, violence, I will say traffic less here than there. Like you speed in a construction zone in Oregon, $500 ticket. Here, not so much. But no, I totally get it.
I'm going to tell you why I think he drove to Oregon. Guess what? Idaho does not have the insanity defense.
No, they're basically like, oh, you're insane? Well, we'll make you competent. We'll get someone to say you're competent.
Yeah, you're going.
You could be the most insane person. They're like, we'll find a way.
Yeah. Insanity plea is not a thing here. So he had to drive to the Oregon, and he's a professional at doing it for 20 years.
He knows.
They
said, didn't Alice say he was very bright?
Yeah, and capable. At a Sinclair gas station in Ontario, Tony prepaid for $40 of diesel, bought 2 bottles of water, and wished the clerk a nice day. Outside, the fuel attendant, fun fact, let me just tell you, in Oregon, you cannot pump your own gas.
I know, and that was so weird for me. Like,
you cannot pump.
You try to, they act like you're trying to rob a bank.
Yeah, you cannot pump your own gas in Oregon.
No touchy.
None.
No, there's an attendant.
Outside, the fuel attendant, Michael McIntyre, was waiting to fill the tank when he heard a sound from inside the cab. Anita was in the passenger seat with her wrists bound to the seatbelt.
What the fuck?
Using plastic zip ties.
Bound to the seatbelt? Wasn't this what his dad did?
That's what he did to his wife.
Oh, you're right. That's what he did to his
with
wife.
the kid. Yeah.
My God.
Anita lifted her arms and screamed, "Help me." McIntyre, a Vietnam War veteran in his 70s but still wiry, told the store clerk to call the police and said, "There's a lady tied up in that truck," and then rushed back outside. Tony acted like nothing was wrong. He sat with one leg hanging out at the open door.
Casual vibing.
When the pump clicked to $40, Tony prepared to leave. McIntyre told him to wait. The police were coming. McIntyre said Tony stared at him for a moment and then reached under the driver's seat. Trigger, warning. Tony pulled out an outdoor angler fillet knife and plunged it into Anita's neck. McIntyre yelled, "He just cut her throat."
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
Like,
that he was so casually just sitting there.
leg up, and then he's like, what the This is just like, I will never understand people that do shit like this. Like, what was the reason? You could have just if they said the police are coming, just drive away.
He had other intentions.
Clearly.
And so with what he felt with his back against the wall of completing whatever he was planning on completing that day. A customer ran outside to help. When he reached the pickup, he later told police he could see the area around Anita's jugular was all gone. The customer and McIntyre tried to intervene, but Tony fended them off with his left hand and repeatedly stabbed Anita in the chest with his right. He slammed the door shut and drove away, plowing his truck through a snowbank, separating the station from the street, which is very common. Like, they make these big hills, you know. Police spotted the pickup in Ontario near Rusty's Pancake and Steakhouse, moving at what was described as a normal rate of speed. This is what's But when he saw the police, Tony accelerated onto a 2-lane highway, speeding up to 90 miles per hour through the snow-covered fields. I mean, this is early January out there.
Yeah.
But they said through the fields, so I don't know if he was cutting off of the highway.
It sounds like he was.
And that's where David and Jessica Bates entered the story. David Bates was a radiology manager. Jessica Bates was an ultrasound technician. They were parents of 5 children and worked at St. Alphonsus Medical Center in Ontario. They usually drove separately, but because of the snow, David decided to drive Jessica so that he could make sure she arrived safely. As Tony crossed into their lane, David veered right, but the snowbanks clogged the shoulder. Jessica later recalled the last thing she remembered was the sound of something in the car smashing into the dash, and then she blacked out. Tony's pickup collided head-on with the Bates vehicle on Oregon 201. David Bates, 38, died at the scene. Jessica Bates was seriously injured but survived. Tony was also seriously injured. Who cares? And transported for medical care. Sorry. Not sorry. Yeah.
Fuck off.
Investigators found an empty package of latex gloves, heavy-duty zip ties, duct tape, 100 feet of rope, binoculars, and the bloody knife in Tony's pickup.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Murder kit. The aftermath unfolded across multiple courts, multiple agencies, and years of delay. On January 12, 2017, Tony was indicted by a Malheur County grand jury. Prosecutor David Goldthorpe said Tony could face life in prison or the death penalty if convicted of aggravated murder. I'm surprised Oregon still had the death penalty.
Yeah, that's... Okay.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh, you guys do the death penalty? You do it? Yeah. Talk to Idaho about that. And listen, it's just, I'm just being.
We don't have an opinion either
I'm
way.
being a silly goose.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Really?
next to Idaho, you guys do the death penalty. We do the death penalty when it's against federal regulations here.
Don't give a fuck.
Literally, we just surpass all laws to do it. Like, not proud of it, but it's like, oh yeah, you guys. Okay.
The indictment included aggravated murder and murder charges for both deaths, allowing a jury later to decide which fit.
Okay.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's how it should be. And that's why Idaho got in trouble.
Like, no, you just lay it. All these murders convictions are available for you to choose what you feel appropriate. Tony faced charges of aggravated murder, first-degree kidnapping, and first-degree assault. Goldthorpe told reporters there had been multiple holdups involving state hospital evaluations and treatment related to Tony's ability to aid and assist in his own defense.
Oh. Poor guy.
Because we're a year in. I mean, meanwhile, the families tried to make sense of the man Anita had married and divorced. Her sister, Stacy, described Anita as surprising, fun, with a goofy laugh, and a reader who could disappear into a book. I love that for you, sis.
And she was just probably trying to just mind her own business. And how sad is that?
Anita loved animals and believed troubled men could be healed. Her sister said Anita was a rescuer, even with Tony believing she could fix him. The family said alarm bells went off early. They described Tony as controlling, secretive, unwilling to engage with their close-knit family, and as a man who inspired fear.
Oh, wonderful. Nothing says protect and provide like a man who inspires fear with everyone who knows them.
Sister Stacy said she remembered thinking she'd get a call from Idaho that Tony went into the house and killed everybody. And you know what's... She had been away from him for a little bit. She had just started dating.
She's trying to...
Somebody new, and I think that might have been a trigger, but she was
of course.
dating somebody new, and she was really excited about it. I think she met him at work.
It's the worst time.
And, you know...
They've lost control.
New love is fun love.
Mm-hmm.
How excited she was. And she just recently got a promotion at work, and she was kicking ass. And he couldn't fucking stand it, you weasel dick motherfucker.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, that felt so good.
I could tell you needed to say that.
They were also stunned. The family was also stunned to learn what Tony had done decades earlier in Baker City.
Oh.
Stacy said they had no idea about the 1996 kidnapping and standoff. She insisted Anita likely didn't know either, and she believed Anita would never be with someone who would harm a child.
Yeah, you couldn't internet like you could now.
No, we can internet. We can internet.
You couldn't ask Jeeves.
No.
Of someone's name.
No. Memory.
Yeah.
I'm very songy tonight. I apologize. But the story got even bigger because Tony's release became a public records battle. Ruh-roh. The people were like, and I think, I want to give good credit. I think it was the Malheur Enterprise. It was the Malheur Enterprise that did all of this. And I don't know if I wrote this down, but they were like, yeah, they're like, what the fuck is, knock, knock. Why'd you let this guy go? They were on it, and it was fantastic. And I should have wrote down the...
And it's the PSERB, right? The PSRB.
The PSERB, yeah. They're like,
what the fuck is this board even for?
Yeah.
Appointed by the governor, and they're like, the vibes were good. Let him out.
Right? Oregon Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum's office ordered the PSERB to release records requested by the Malheur Enterprise. I didn't even have to go look. I have it written down. Finding public interest required disclosure. Fuck yeah.
Heller.
This guy malingering for 20 goddamn
years.
And
admitting, being like, yeah, that was all fake.
And then he gets released, and 3 weeks later, he's fucking stabbing his ex-wife.
It was easier for me to just do it that way.
The board refused and sued the newspaper.
Oh, okay.
Oregon Governor Kate Brown intervened, calling the law, quote, plain wrong, and saying Oregonians deserve transparent government.
Thank you, Kate.
The board dropped its lawsuit and released the record, saying it had withheld documents to ensure compliance with medical privacy laws.
Oh, was that the reason?
That's why they wanted. No, this board was scared.
Oh, you care about HIPAA? You do.
You're scared.
Oh, you
We're
do.
scared.
Fuck off.
Those records showed state doctors suspected nearly 20 years earlier that Tony was feigning mental illness to avoid prison. Yet, it did not appear officials acted on those suspicions.
My eyes just rolled back a century, just so for those of you listening only audibly.
They showed the system struggled to treat a man as mentally ill while he exhibited no symptoms. They showed he was given medication and dosages that did not match proper treatment. They showed staff describing him as dangerous, especially in interpersonal conflict, and warning that if released into the community, he would need close monitoring, close supervision, and a structured environment.
No, put him in a foster care where he can go and come as he pleases.
And that's really what it was like. Look, it was a paid apart. It was like a dorm. Like you have, what's the dorm? What's the
halfway house?
No, what's the dorm person called in college that is in charge?
Fraternity. House mom, house dad.
Starts with an R.
RA.
Residential
advisor. It's an RA. What the fuck is a RA?
So it's that. But he has his own fucking room, his own little probably studio apartment. He's still, well, until
he had a wife living with her parents. Jesus. F word.
In court, the case dragged. In April of 2017, families sat in the courtroom as Tony appeared in a wheelchair with his head down while hearings were pushed back. Of course, because you're mentally ill now again.
Everyone knows if you're mentally ill, you need a wheelchair.
You faked it for 20 years, but now you're mentally ill.
And it requires a wheelchair.
Of course. Defense attorney William D. Falls raised recusal issues for Malheur County judges due to past connections to Tony because he had been in trouble a lot. They had to find Malheur County is a large county, but it's
teensy in population
compared to like
lots of land, few folks.
Yeah. Judge Aaron Landis rescheduled a plea hearing to June 20th for a visiting judge. They had to bring in a judge from another county. Falls raised the possibility of a guilty except for insanity plea in the new case.
Mm-hmm. Oh, how refreshing.
In 2018, state hospital evaluators concluded Tony was mentally unfit to stand trial, creating uncertainty about whether prosecution could proceed.
I'm sure he's not malingering this time.
No.
It's real.
I will tell you, let me just tell you, I didn't write down the book. While he was awaiting all of his bullshit on the first wife that he kidnapped and all that bullshit, he was reading a book about mental illness.
He's like, I like to read the DSM. I like to read the DSM-5 just for fun. You guys don't read that for fun? I want to know all the symptoms.
All of them. The report took months when typical evaluations were described as being completed in days.
Because it's easy because you can find some symptoms.
Later in September of 2018, Multnomah Circuit Judge Thomas Ryan ruled Tony would return to the Oregon State Hospital for treatment after finding he was too impaired to make rational decisions about his defense.
So we have someone who knew how to do this for 20 years. And now they're saying, oh, we don't know what to do. He might be mentally ill. Could it maybe be that it's someone who's experienced in pretending to be mentally ill for 20 years? I don't know. That maybe that's a possibility. I mean, I'm just little old me, but
Little you just thinking, having thoughts.
just having a thought or two. Is anyone having a fucking thought or two anywhere?
I will say, let me just say, in the judge's defense, I will say it's better to be cautious about this because we know about the appeals.
Sure.
So look, if he needs to go say as a judge, I'm like, all right, he's a fucking fat mouth. But you know what? I'm going to go send him back there for, 6 months, 12 months.
See what we can do.
Let's see what we can dig up on this motherfucker. That
All
would be
right.
my judge brain thinking, like, let's see what we can dig up
And
on.
I hope that was
You're
the
not going to get
intent.
off on a technicality, and you're not going to appeal my court to death. Dr. Octavio Choi, Director of Forensic Evaluation Services, diagnosed Tony with adjustment disorder, more commonly known as mild to moderate depression. Same.
I think that adjustment disorder, change is hard for anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, so he's depressed. Mild to moderate depression, which, look, I get
You
it.
can murder a few people if you have mild depression. Everyone knows that. Leave him alone. Scram. Fuck my life.
Choi said 3 to 6 months of treatment could restore competency.
Excuse me, Mr. Octavio Choi. I think that this has been maybe attempted with this individual a few times. Could you maybe let me know how that worked?
I am respecting Troy because he is not, he's like, look, all right, you want mild to,
Sure, little depressy. Okay.
yeah. Give me
3 to 6 months rehabilitation?
give me 3 to 6 months of this motherfucker.
In a ring, maybe.
I just see some gloves, psh, psh, like a duel.
Yeah.
You will straighten up, motherfucker.
Maybe, but
But Choi wrote that Tony should be considered highly dangerous and inappropriate for community-based restoration.
okay, that's
Fuck yeah.
at least something.
Choi also documented concerns about malingering and inconsistent reporting. Choi has got your fucking number, Tony. Including when Tony was becoming angry when pressed about claims of hearing voices and describing disorganized rants and paranoid beliefs, including the claim that a jail lieutenant could read his mind.
And I wish we had tapes of his like pretending and stuff. I'd eat that up.
He read the book. He's
He read the book, but
I read in my mind.
I'm crazy. Oh, I'm hearing voices. So many voices. Like, oh, I'm passing out. So many voices.
and I'm mildly
depressed. I am mildly depressed. How am I supposed to not kill people? Oh. Chat. Mildly depressed chat. We're not killing people on the reg, right?
Right. I'm not. No, depression is a thing.
It is.
But that typically depressed people do not murder people. They will either like
They're keeping it to themselves.
Yeah.
They're minding their business.
and possibly, self-harm, which is horrible. They are not stalking.
They don't
their
have the
fucking
energy.
ex-wife. No,
They do not have the energy.
What'd you do? Take a fucking B12 shot and decide to go fucking.
Whoop. All better. Gonna go kill people about it. My fucking goodness. Harry. That's our co-star, Harry.
He's very worked up because we're worked up. Love you, bro.
He thinks we're about to fight. He's like, where are they?
Are
Who
you
do I
okay?
got?
At that hearing, the courtroom held grief on both sides of the aisle. Susan Harmon sat in the back with her granddaughter. Members of the Bates family were nearby. Susan described Choi's technical description of Tony's inconsistent mental health story as, quote, fancy talk for lies. Fuck yeah.
Thank you, hun.
She said she believed he lied to the state to get out of the hospital and was now lying again to get out of murder.
As would be expected. with this motherfucker.
Because we still have the Bates family involved.
Yeah, you're right.
In December 2018, two families filed wrongful death suits, faulting the state for releasing Tony despite warnings.
Thank you. Heller.
Prosecutors said the state hospital had determined Tony was mentally fit to be prosecuted.
Oh.
In the same month. Here's our wrongful death suits, and his mild depression is fixed. He just needed a little vitamin D, some sunshine, and maybe a little,
And as most mildly depressed people will say, that's what kept them from being a serial killer. No one's out here doing that, bro. Mild depression.
In January 2019, Judge Ryan ruled Tony competent to aid and assist in his defense. The evaluation supporting that ruling was sealed from public view at the request of the defense attorneys. We get it, but bullshit. Mm-hmm. This happened early 2017.
Which, in my mind, was 2 years ago. I know it's not,
same.
But my heart feels like it is.
Finally, on February 26, 2021, it's fucking 4 years ago. Okay, almost 5. Tony pled guilty to second-degree murder, first-degree manslaughter, and third-degree assault. The plea agreement called for life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years on the murder charge. The manslaughter sentence was 20 years. The assault sentence was 3 years to be served concurrently. If parole is granted, he would still face additional years tied to the Bates death.
As he should.
I'm going to tell you, Mrs. Bates forgave him. They're very spiritual family, very religious. She forgave him.
And I don't judge folks for that.
No, it takes you're a better person than me.
You really are.
Because I would be like, go fuck yourself. So, and she talked about the forgiveness helping her move on.
Right. And that is so helpful for a lot of people.
And she talked about, she has 5 kids.
Yeah.
And supporting those kids. And she talked about one son wanting to play soccer. I believe it was soccer, a sport. And she was like, I don't know if I can do this, because she's a single mom, working, managing a household of 5 children. You know what it takes to do the extracurriculars. It's a commitment. And you know what? Family and friends were like, we're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
So you don't worry about getting him to practice. We're going to do this. And they were from Vail, Oregon, which is a very small farming community out there. And, she was just very grateful for all the support she got through her church and through family members, because it does take a village at that point. 2 people raising 5 kids is hard. 1 person,
5 people raising 5 kids would be hard.
Thank you. So she's a well put together woman who has her faith.
Good for her.
And she's a strong woman. Because I'd be ready to fucking choke it.
Windmill a bitch. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. So at sentencing, families filled the Malheur County Courthouse. Tony appeared in clean street clothes with a fresh haircut. What happened to the wheelchair?
No, he's got a fresh cut from the barber. It has to look fly.
More than a dozen people delivered statements. There was anger in the room, but there was also something else, a threat of forgiveness that made the room feel even heavier. Lucas Favreau, Anita Herman's son, said, quote, "All I can do is pray for your tormented soul." Stacy, Anita's sister, told Tony she had no words of anger toward him. Quote, "God loves Tony as much as he loves me," she said. And then she broke down, saying she wondered what her sister's body felt when he stabbed her, and that she hated she wasn't there to protect her.
Right. No, that whole thing is just a sickening thing to imagine.
Yeah.
And that the gas station attendant tried to be like, something is not right here. And then you don't expect it to escalate. That's just
Would you ever
never
to see a woman holding her, saying, "Help me," and she's bound?
And then being
stabbed? It's just, ugh. Jessica Bates wept as she spoke too, telling Tony he had caused a huge amount of hurt and loss, saying it felt surreal, and then telling him she forgave him and hoped he would seek God. After the family spoke, District Attorney David Goldthorpe told the court there was no punishment under the Oregon law harsh enough for what Tony did. He called Tony evil and said no amount of time in prison could make the families whole. Fair.
Sounds like he wanted to be an Idaho judge. Because that's how, like, they're like, what is the 10,000 years? Do it. Death penalty, 75,000 times, even though it's not legal how I'm doing it. Let's go.
Let's find Black Doug. Get some drugs.
Get Black Doug on the phone. Let's get the drugs we need for the injection. And if that doesn't work, we're going to make a firing squad. And it's under construction.
We're going to build a building. All right. Now you have nothing
build
to
it
say.
and they will come.
Anthony Montwheeler is currently 58 years old. He is incarcerated at the Oregon State Correctional Institution, where he is serving a life sentence. No kush.
Not the mental hospital.
No.
Or the foster home.
They're not dealing in...
I'm a murderer foster child.
Yeah.
Just here to be an adult.
No.
Like, what the fuck even is that?
What an escalation, though, eh? Like... You just see, this is what happens.
PSRB, are y'all out of your fucking mind? You're appointed by the governor? How? For what?
Oh, this guy lied to us for 20 years, and now he's obviously telling us the truth now. He faked this the whole time. God.
He convinced us for 20 years, but now he's telling the truth. So now I'm like, I gotta give him some props for that. Who would say that? Now I trust this guy.
Our bad.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
3 weeks later. Paserb. Go fuck yourself, Paserb. Hey, Tony.
Listen up, Tony.
Go fuck yourself.
I think I've said all I feel about this, but any last thoughts?
No.
So anyway, Tony, as Danny previously stated, if you could expeditiously go fuck yourself, we would really appreciate it.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Quickly, please follow us. TikTok, Facebook, IG, whatever, however you want. And
share. That word of mouth is the biggest way.
Share, comment, like. We love your comments. You guys are fucking hilarious. And 10 forward, Rubber Ducky.
Fuck yeah.